video, Kevin outlined a different model of the political economy of digital media, arguing that the platforms that dominate network culture are less mechanisms of democratization than corporate-controlled monoliths designed to extract and sell our data and attention. But while this is probably the most profound critique of the political economy of digital media available today, it's not the only critique out there. In this video, I'm going to enumerate 4 other equally prominent critiques of the political economy of digital media. The first critique revolves around the monopoly ownership of these platforms. While the utopian view I outlined in the second video for this week proclaimed that the rise of digital communications would break up corporate media monopolies, in reality, digital network media remains dominated by a handful of media giants: Google, which also owns YouTube, Facebook, which owns Instagram and WhatsApp, and so on. The tendency of internet companies towards monopolization is in part a result of what Nick Cernick calls network effects. The more numerous the users who use a platform, the more valuable that platform becomes for everyone else. Facebook, for example, has become the default social networking platform, simply by virtue of the sheer number of people on it, since obviously if you want to join a platform for socializing, you join the platforms where most of your friends and family already hang out. Media monopolies are problematic under any circumstances, but they're particularly problematic because the functions of these platforms are political, social, and civic functions, connecting people, informing people, and giving people a voice. The second critique of the political economy of digital networked media turns on what's known as the digital divide. Today, digital media is essential to almost every task, from acquiring an education, to securing work, to meeting up with friends. And we often talk about the internet as though it's some kind of floating ethereal cloud that surrounds and is equally available to us all. Yet digital network media depends on access to specific gadgets, as well as specific skills. And like everything else in a capitalist society, these things cost money, and as such are subject to different levels of access depending on age, class, socioeconomic status, gender, and geographical location. Given digital media's integral role in almost every aspect of social and economic life today, these uneven patterns of access to digital media can be said to reinforce existing socioeconomic inequalities. A third critique, most famously advanced by media scholars Tiziana Terranova and Mark Andreevich, is that Web 2.0 is based on the exploitation of free labor. What is meant by this? Well, as we saw in the last lecture on platform capitalism, part of the reason why companies like Google, Facebook, and Instagram turn astronomical profits is because they don't need to produce their own content. Who then is producing their content? The answer is you are. You're writing the content for Facebook so that they can then make money by selling your data to advertisers and data analytics firms. You're uploading your videos to YouTube so that they can sell ad space. You're writing fan fiction for your favorite novel series or video game on Wattpad or Comaful, in ways that both sustain and extend the reach of those novel or video game brands and provide Google with further data about your personal interests and desires. From this perspective, and for many critics, no matter how pleasurable your online activities feel and how voluntarily they're performed, they involve a kind of labor, and thus the story of how Google and Facebook generate profit is a simple one. Users are unwaged laborers who produce goods, i.e. attention, data, and content, that are then taken and sold by the companies to advertisers and other interested parties. The final critique of the political economy of digital media crystallizes around the concept of the digital precariat. This critique acknowledges that many people who are working online or using online tools or apps to secure work are in fact getting paid. We're not all free laborers. Indeed, a whole new economy has sprung up around digital media, and an economy that its boosters have called the sharing economy, but which those less convinced of its beneficence have dubbed the gig economy or the digital precariat. Key players in this economy include platforms like Uber Eats, and TaskRabbit. The employment model of these platforms promises flexibility, autonomy, and convenience for workers. However, what they actually deliver is low pay, no benefits, prolonged hours, and long-term insecurity. Workers are outsourced, fixed capital is outsourced, maintenance costs are outsourced, and training is outsourced. In this video then, I've outlined 4 critiques of the political economy of digital media. The first focused on digital monopolies, the second on the digital divide, the third on our free digital labour, and the fourth on the rise of the so-called digital precariat. Sounds pretty depressing? In the next video, Kevin will take a more optimistic line by showing how alternative forms of social media are trying to break the hold of traditional social media over our lives, our data, and our attention.